What's that mean? When do I use this? What's that button do?
Never a dull moment at the Springs.
The 4x4 Insiders, an off-road show for the everyday four-wheel driver, whether you've been doing it for years or just starting off. This is the place to go for your off-road tips, great adventures, a good laugh, and an inside look into the lifestyle that goes hand in hand with owning a four-wheel drive.
That was
Are you not entertained?
The 4x4 Insiders, the Good Oil podcast, is brought to you by MadMatt 4-Wheel Drive and the Springs 4x4 Park. Well, guys, we are here and back for another episode of the Good Oil podcast, and we've got Lucas and Matt as always. How are you doing, lads?
Good, mate. Good.
And we've got a special guest this week, a good friend of mine and a good friend of both Matt and I, and we've known each other a fair while, Mr. Borgy. How are you, mate?
Going well, mate. Going well. Some might say we've known each other a little bit too long, mate.
Look, it has been said. Look, Borgy and I worked together first back at Four Drive Action magazine all the way back then, where we were both. Oh, well, Borgy was writing good stuff and I was pretending to be a writer, basically, and bossing people around. And Borgy was out doing the fun stuff. So I was always pretty jealous of what Borgy got to do. So, but Borgy actually now has a business called Way. Well, you tell me what it's called, Borgy. What's your business?
Business is called Way Me RV. Basically, what it is it's a four-wheel driving caravan weighing business. We do weigh a few other things as well. The whole idea is so that we can find out and get accurate weights of what your car and your trailer weighs, and then we can actually educate people around the weights as well, which is a bit of a hot topic these days.
It is a hot topic, and it's the reason, Matt, why we decided to put this this episode together. So do you want to give us a quick rundown, Matt, on what this episode is kind of all about, or the big topic this week?
Yeah, so look, it's basically I think this started when we did the podcast where we talked about the new F truck, the Lightning, and we were doing the calculations on the numbers, and we've gone, these don't stack up to be very good at all. Now, I'm very interested to see what Borgy says about it, because I can see by his nodding that he kind of agrees with our workings. But, we said we actually need to have a good conversation with somebody who's an authority on GVMs and what it all means, because I feel like I've got a reasonable understanding, but I know for a fact I don't have the understanding that Borgy has. And so I'm really interested, and I feel like I'm going to learn a lot in this conversation as well. But that's basically where we started from. But we're going to talk about everything to do with the weight. So I think we're going to be talking about front axle weights, rear axle weights, drawbar weights, like your tow ball weight. We're going to talk about your caravan's axle weight. We're probably going to talk about the air conditioning weight. I don't know.
Of all your accessories. Well, for a man that knows nothing about air conditioners because he drives Nissans, that's Lucas up the top there. I'm sorry to say, Lucas, but hey, Borgy, what type of four-wheel drive have you driven most of your life?
Most of my life has been 80 series Land Cruisers. That's pretty much what I kicked off driving, and then I've haven't pretty well stopped them. Yeah.
I swear you guys just stitched me up. Fair dinkum. Mate, you haven't lived.
Yeah, he probably has.
Until you've driven a kettle.
Where do you live, Boggs? Are you in Victoria, mate, or where are you?
No, mate, I'm New South Wales, mate. Bathurst based.
Oh, yeah, so it gets cold down there. So
yeah,
patrol would fit in nice. Like,
mate, it would.
Kettle keep you warm.
Yeah, that's right. No, it'd fit in as a lawn ornament or something like that. So,
actually, Morgan, do you still have that Blitz as a lawn ornament, or has that moved on now?
No, I sold that. That was one of those projects that I was really
got inspired by the one you and Matt built. Yeah,
pretty well. I was planning to do my own little adventure. I thought I missed out on the Simpson trip we were hoping to do with the old one, but it ended up getting sold.
So have you still got your bus?
Yeah, I've still got the bus as well. Yeah, and that's another project as well. I bought another bus for spare parts, but the spare parts bus drives better than the original motorhome bus, so now I'm looking at converting the spare parts bus.
So must be a Toyota as well, yeah?
No. Mercedes, just as bad.
Oh, look, guys. I think that's a good start for the intro. Now, Borgy, thank you for coming on. I'm sorry in advance for what you're going to cop on this, but no, that's fine. I think you'll fit right in. So it's a bit of a laugh, and we have a good time. So the first segment we're going to get into is one of our favourites, and it's What's News.
There are dumb drivers, and then there's this.
With the four-wheel drive abandoned on a muddy dirt track at Mount Disappointment.
First, Grenadier, Ineos, of course, and Spirit Bock Hill.
I've just spent a couple of days four-wheel driving with the Ford Ranger Wild Track X.
It's time for What's News?
Oh, and What's News this week? We're starting with something that I think my friend there, Lucas, is going to be quite happy with. And it's this.
Oh, damn. How good is that? Oh, you boys may as well go away. 80 series and cruisers. Like, look at that. Is that sex on wheels or what?
Do you need a private moment, do you, Lucas?
Now, what are we looking at? What are we looking at?
That's what I was going to say. Come on. I want Borgs. Come on, Borgs. What are we looking at, mate? Give us a description. I want to hear the best, the finest description you got. Come on.
Finest description. We're looking at a Y63, and it's a Nissan. That's about the best I've got for you, mate.
Yeah. See, I don't think you did this justice. The image we're looking at now, Jeep's created the first Jeep. Then Toyota copied that, and then Nissan copied the Toyota, and that's what we're looking at. See, it's the G40 or something, is it, Lucas? Yeah. You've probably got your collection.
No, mate. G60 is the first in my collection, but
that's what we're looking at.
That's a cool piece of history there, and obviously
come a long way, eh?
Yeah, it is. So just for the audience, there's two vehicles in the picture: the very first Patrol ever, or Datsun ever built, and a brand new Y63. So yeah, they're two pretty cool cars.
And I think for a man that just finished a high country trip with a brand new Y62 Patrol towing a caravan around the high country, which, you know...
If you haven't heard that episode, go and have a listen to it.
Listen to that one, because there's some fail moments on that trip.
No, only Toyotas, but continue.
But the 2025 Y63 has been announced. And what are your initial thoughts, Mr. Lucas, on this vehicle compared to the one that you have currently, right? Yep. Would you trade as soon as this turns up, or are you still a bit unsure?
Well, no is the short answer. So before I bought the 62, I'd actually seen some of these, you know, I don't know if they were like prototypes or whatever, but I could see what it was going to be. And I knew they were dropping the V8. It was a big thing for me. I really wanted the V8 just for the tow power. You know, you can't beat cubic inches as far as I'm concerned. You can wring the neck out of a four-cylinder, or in this case, a twin-turbo V6. What are they, 3.5 litre V6, I think?
I believe that's what it is, yeah.
Just so the specs.
Sorry, mate.
You got a naturally aspirated 3.8 and a twin-turbo 3.5, apparently.
Yeah, V6. So still 3.5 ton tow and all that sort of stuff. A little bit higher GVM, so the payload's down a little bit, which is a shame. But just the tech and everything that's in these vehicles, air suspension, you know, like the lane guidance, self steer, like all that stuff. You know, it's the stuff that I don't want. Like I just wanted a V8, to be honest.
But can you imagine, Borgy? Can you imagine yourself sitting in this cockpit? Oh, look at that!
Oh my gosh!
Not a chance in hell.
Well, this cockpit, just explaining, looks like something out of I don't know,
a certain type of nightclub.
It's a nightclub mixed with a spaceship mixed with. I'm surprised there's not a mirror ball coming down from the roof.
Tell ya. Oh,
fair enough.
My cup of tea.
I'm with you, Borgs, mate. I'm so disappointed. Like it'll probably grow, you know, and they'll change the color and stuff. But I'm so disappointed in this. Like they need to talk to the people that drive these things, I reckon, and get some decent input, because old mate's I don't know. He's looking through some foggy stockings for that one.
I don't know what it is, but pretty well most modern vehicles now, I look at it and go, nah, I can't do it. But I reckon in about 15 years, I'll go, oh, actually, that's all right. I'm probably about 15 years behind the trend, you know?
Yeah.
I know when the first 80 series came out, I was bagged the daylights out of it, ugly car, this and that, all of this. It's plastic fantastic, rah, rah, rah. It was the best, probably the best, one of the best all drives ever. So.
And look, hey, it may be, like, I don't know if you've, like, some of the tech in this is next level. Like, it's got, apparently you can use infrared biometrics to measure the skin temperatures of all the people in the car and vary the air conditioning based on that.
Oh, because you need that.
Well, like, can you imagine how much of this stuff goes wrong? Like when you're like in the middle of the Simpson Desert, and all of a sudden it just thinks that like you need heating. Like,
So, it could be handy though. Like if you're about to head up Beer O'Clock Hill or something, Lucas, and then you're getting those hot flushes as you're heading up. Aircon spits on as you go. Beautiful.
Yeah. It's a patrol with red leather interior. I'd be getting hot flushes just getting in it. I'd be super keen to know what the chassis configuration and stuff is. Like, obviously, have they gone away from that? The chassis configuration that's in the 62, the 61. That big solid. Ladder chassis configuration, or have they gone to a K-frame set up in them now? Or I'd love to actually have a bit of a driver one, to be honest, and make a better informed decision and tow something through the high country. I mean, just on the road.
It's interesting how like when the Y62 came out and you compared it to the GU. Like honestly, I looked at that vehicle and I thought, I like the look of it. I saw the specs. Checked it out, and it's like that's a really good step up from the GU, and independent rear end, and very impressive. Whereas I don't know much about this, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. So 70 mil of height adjustment with the airbags. So I think that's pretty cool that you've got such. You can lower it for around town and doing all the. The shopping and stuff, but when you go into the bit of rugged stuff, you can bump her up by 70 mil, which is pretty cool.
It's got some features, right? Like it's got some features that, and like everything these days, like 9-speed automatic, like there's just gears for days.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I don't know how you need, like maybe in the Middle East when you're doing 200 Ks an hour, right? But in Australia, if you need 9 gears to get between 0 and 100, which is all you're allowed to go, which we'll probably get into later when you're towing something fairly substantial anyway in some states. Like, it's just a lot of gears.
I think the reason, like, this is my honest opinion, I think the reason that they add so many gears is because the motor is so underpowered to move that car, especially when it's pulling 3.5 ton. They've got to give it gearing to be able to, cope, to move the mass. So I think that's why they do it.
I do want to point out one fact of this car, though, and this is pretty great for a Nissan. Cooling has taken a big bump with the removal of belt-driven cooling fans, and instead the Patrol now uses a pair of electric fans and the largest cooling system on any Nissan product to date.
And it's a smaller engine.
We've got the kettle issue covered.
It's covered. They're just telling everybody it's all good. We've basically got a direct drive, like airflow.
It's just constant fans.
Hey, don't walk in front of it because it'll suck you against the grill.
It'll pull the pants off you. I think Matt might have seen one today.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, just very, very quickly, with the Y62, right, I love that car. It's heaps of grunt. You can hit any hill and you'll do the same speed at the top. It doesn't matter what you're towing, right? But they haven't gone away from them being overheating kettles, because in the high country, I was towing a caravan up like Blue Rag and all the rest of it, and the thing was overheating and shutting down the air conditioning because it couldn't cope. So the cooling system on the Y62 is still not sufficient enough after, 20 years, 30 years of trying to deal with this stuff. So hopefully the twin Guru woohoo fans do the job this time.
maybe the Y62 still uses a forklift engine inside there. You know.
Well, that's all they need, mate. Keep up with Toyota, so she'll be right.
Rumor has it the Y63's gone to one of those turbines off a 747 jet, something like that. Just sort it out.
Straight in.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. Okay, so moving on to our next news topic for the week, and this is actually an interesting one. I'm going to share my screen again and share this interesting article or news topic.
Person? Morning.
Oh, yes.
So, I'm staying at a friend's place here at the Gold Coast. I'm just in their front street, grass street, and someone's put a complaint in, and it turns out that on the Gold Coast, if you're a heavy vehicle or over 7.5 metres long, you can't park in residential or commercial built-up areas for more than an hour. So it's a fine of $800 per person.
Whoa!
Wow. They were good blokes. But,
good blokes.
Thank God. And we'll clear out a bit today. Stay safe out
there. You go. So, I don't know if you... Oh, hello, there's my next one. Always happens. There you go. Did anyone know that? I didn't know that before I saw that article.
No, I didn't know.
I have heard a bit about it, and I did actually see something not long ago about Victoria coming down pretty hard on it as well. So I think it's actually a rule in Victoria. Yeah,
it's interesting. Leash told me once when we were up in like Caboolture, where her sister is, that she couldn't park the truck there in her street because if it was on the driveway, it was fine, but on the street, it was a no-go. And I was just like, come on, it's fine. Surely it's allowed. But no, you're right. You are not allowed, if you're over 7.5 meters long, to park on for more than an hour.
That's ridiculous. So I wonder how they handle that when they have gridlock on the M1, because everyone's always stuck there for 2 or 3 hours in traffic, not moving.
Well, it'd be a great revenue raising opportunity, wouldn't it? Just run along.
Lucas, it's cost of living's already high. You don't need to give the Muppets any more ideas, mate.
Oh, man, that makes just as much sense to me as what this guy's just gone through. It's just absolutely bloody ludicrous, ridiculous.
What could possibly be the reasoning behind that rule, though?
Well, I'll throw in my thinking on that. It'll come back. It'll be one of these things where somebody's made up a rule, which when they made it made sense, but then it got applied elsewhere. So you imagine old mate's a truckie and he drives a B-double and he pulls into his street and he takes up, what are they, 50 metres or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
something
guessing.
big. Yeah.
And just takes it up. So they've brought in a rule to stop that sort of, issue or something like that.
Yeah.
And now you get, the do-gooders who come in and go, I'm parking here to visit me mates in a caravan. Like,
Because that's the thing. If you've got a caravan and you're rocking up to visit Rellos or whatever, what better way than to stay at their place and just park out the front? Now, if I come to your place, Matt, you got miles of space.
Yeah, I'm a landowner, mate.
Pull up and, that works great. You'd probably tell me I have to park down the creek.
I'll charge you.
Yeah, correct. But
I'm like Lucas.
Lucas has got even more space.
I might be able to squeeze you in, mate.
Yeah, got me. I put my phone on silent. It's a bit awkward, isn't it?
Yeah.
Professional.
Anyway, that's my thoughts. I just get sick of the rules. And to be honest, if I had a caravan and I was coming to stay at somebody's place and that's how it was, I'd pull up, I'd camp the night.
How long's the nursing home, mate?
Well, I'm going to identify as 8 metres just to upset somebody.
That's great. Well, look, that is our news for this week, and we're going to jump on to our off-road advice segment, which is where we give some advice to someone who sent in a question.
Have you ever wondered, when should I use low range? When should I use high range in my four-wheel drive? Soft shackles are becoming a key part of the four-wheel driver's toolkit, and it's a good thing that they are. Should I fit a front locker or a rear locker first?
Yep, it's that time for off-road advice.
All right, so off-road advice this week has been a message sent in, and it says, "Hey Insiders, here's one for you lads. If you could only pick 3 mods to upgrade your brand new 4-drive before going on a trip to the Outback, what would they be? Right? So Outback trip, new 4-drive. So let's, we're not talking an old bus. We're talking something relatively new. What are you picking? Who wants to go first?
I reckon we give the guests the
All
honour,
right,
mate.
Borgy's up first. The guy just handballed that
Throw me in the
straight
deep
in.
end.
All right.
Sorry, mate.
No, all good. That's an easy one for me. Tyres, straight up. Stock highway terrain tyres. As soon as you get off the black tar, not going to cut it. Just not going to cut it. So for me, that's probably where the best value for money is going to be. Is just going to probably a good set of all terrains or up to muddies, depending on what you're planning on doing. That's
right, so that's your first one. What are your next 2?
Next 2, Outback. Let's think. Probably look at going to bull bar or some sort of frontal protection. I do. If I'm doing Outback runs, a lot of the time I ended up driving when you probably shouldn't be driving, and that's when you. When it's at night time and that sort of thing, when animal strikes are sort of a bit more common. So just to sort of protect against that, I'd probably look at going a front bar on whatever it is I'm driving, and that allows me then to put on some decent lighting to also help with that. So they'd probably be the top 3 things. Pretty basic mods, but I think they're pretty self-explanatory as well.
Okay, all right. Let's go Matt next.
Oh, I'll go one, and then Lucas can go one.
Okay, let's go one each. Let's go one, and then we'll work our way through. This will be good. So, Matt, what's your first one? Yeah,
so my first would be, I agree with Borgy, but I'd also make sure I'm running a good quality shock absorber.
Yep. Outback roads make a difference. Yep.
No, I reckon I'd agree with Borgs as far as the bull bar for animal strikes out there. But some form of good communication, like a GPS sat phone or something like that.
Yep. I'd run a quality wheel, so the wheel holds the tire. I'd run a quality wheel. What I'm seeing is a lot of people who are running the cheaper or the Chinese style of wheels. They're actually having wheel failures. And so I like to run a quality wheel that can carry the load and has been properly made for the job.
Yep. All right, that's Matt's 2. So Matt's got the wheels and he's got suspension. And I guess you were saying tyres as well, yeah, Matt? That stuff.
Yeah.
Tyres, wheels, suspension is make your ride comfortable.
The shock absorbers is the specific, yes.
Yeah, cool. Okay, Lucas, so you've got your first one. What are your next 2?
Next 2, I reckon a long-range fuel tank so you can actually make it through the Outback.
Especially if you're driving a Y62.
Absolutely.
Sorry, mate.
No, that's all good.
Hey, mate, my truck does 19 litres to the 100. I only get 500 Ks out of 140 litres. So,
I towed a Jimny home today and I got 24 litres per 100 on the highway. So
is that on the Unimog or in your one?
In the 62.
Oh, okay.
Long range fuel tank and what's another one? Probably some sort of fridge to keep your food and drinks and all that sort of stuff, because obviously water is vital out there. So cold water would make it more comfy.
Yep. No, that's all good answers. Look, mine would be a mix of all three of what you've said. I'd be definitely going tyres. I'd definitely be going suspension for the Outback. And I'd go that bull bar and just try and set my times to not drive at that time of night. However, as both you and I know, Borgy, I don't think we've ever done a trip where we're not driving at that time of day, because that's when you can make the Ks. It's just what happens, and the Outback for a lot of people is a long way from home, so you don't want to spend 4 days getting there. You want to get that road out of the way so you can actually get into the good stuff. So
you want the ability to be able to travel at the less fortunate times, or if you need to, because sometimes it's very easy to set an unrealistic an unrealistic goal around where you're going to make for the night. So, we've done that a million times. I think all of us have done it. Everyone's guilty of it. But being able to be able to travel at night time when you need to safely, it's a priority.
Well, that's good. I think that is a good answer, and hopefully there's some good information there for people who are heading to the Outback. So we're going to jump right now into our big one this week.
It's that time of the week when we take on the big questions. And this week is a cracker. The big one is brought to you by the Springs 4-Wheel Park and MadMatt 4-Drive. Take it away, lads.
A bit of good music now, a bit of bop. There we go. Awesome. So this one this week is all about weights. And obviously we're doing that because we've got Mr. Borg here who is going to be able to give us some good insights on this. So we've got a bit of a layout that we've put together for this, and we're going to kind of run through it. And I'll throw some questions out to everybody, kind of like we do, and let's just try and unpack some of these some of the terminology and some of the traps that people get into, because this is one of those topics that knowing just enough can actually be really dangerous, as opposed to almost knowing nothing is sometimes better and getting a professional to tell you. But, there's a lot of armchair experts there who know just enough to be dangerous. So we're gonna kick this off. Lucas is one of them.
Yeah, Lucas tows heavy caravans in the high country. Being told not to.
It's true. All right, so we'll kick this one, and we're going to try to not just send everything Borgy's way, even though that's going to be definitely something that is going to.
I was going to get some dinner.
Not I
sense an ambush.
Yeah, perfect. But we will start with Borgy because we're going to start with a really simple one. Tell me, Borgy, what is GVM and why does it matter?
All right, so GVM, gross vehicle mass, is what it stands for. In a nutshell, it's basically the maximum that your four-wheel drive or your vehicle can weigh. That includes passengers, fuel, spare change in your pockets when you're driving. Doesn't matter. The absolute maximum weight that your vehicle can weigh is your GVM.
Now, is that like with the trailer?
No, we'll get into that in a minute. Yeah. So, that's coming up soon, Matt. We'll get to, but I think what's important for that, and what we'll probably add into that, it does include. Yeah, I'll give Matt. He just jumped like ahead three topics. But what I think, Matt,
at least I'm listening to Borgy and trying to engage with him. But that's all right. I'll shut up now. I'm going to mute the mic.
Is that all we have to do?
Sorry, Matt. What I think what that means is, does that include the towable weight of your caravan in there?
Yeah, I was just trying to understand it. Well, I was just trying to understand. He says GVM. It means the weight of your vehicle. But is it when I'm towing a trailer? How does that affect the weight of my vehicle, or is it when I'm only a number when I'm not towing a vehicle? Like, what is it?
Yeah, fair call.
No. So it does include. So when you're towing a trailer, the GVM is still looking specifically at your four-wheel drive. But what we do have to remember is if you've got a trailer on the back, your four-wheel drive is effectively supporting the towable weight. So the weight that the trailer's putting onto your four-wheel drive is called the towable weight, and that has to be accounted for in the GVM as well. So if you've got a trailer that weighs 3 ton, and let's assume it's got 10% of its weight up on the towable, we've got to allow for 300 kilos of that weight to be included into the payload of the vehicle, and has to stay under the GVM, so the maximum weight of the vehicle with that 300 kilos in there. Which is where things start to get a little bit messy. A lot of people start going, okay, well, what if I do this and that? But it starts to get a little bit messy there. But that's pretty much the definition of it.
No, it's a good question. It's a good question. Now, Matt, I don't know whether this is something you have an understanding on, but I'm going to throw it to you because I feel bad for cutting you off for the last one. But
shoot me down.
Sorry,
I'll stop crying.
How do manufacturers determine a vehicle's GVM?
Oh, I wouldn't have a flipping clue. I think they half the time they go into the back room and they have, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's go with that one. I don't think they've got a clue half the time.
It does seem that way. I imagine there's a fair bit of engineering that goes into it too.
Yeah, probably does. Look, I guess I'm guessing honestly, but they're going to have to consider tyre loading, wheel capacity. They're going to have to consider axle loading, like what's that axle assembly designed to carry, and I think an important factor with this is what we call dynamic load. So there's static load, which is just sitting there, and then there's dynamic load. So when you hit a bump, you might be carrying 2 tons, but when you hit the bump, it might have to be able to handle 3 or 4 ton. I don't know. I'm making up numbers. So those would be a lot of the considerations, I guess, they've got to factor in.
And probably braking capacity, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to the weight of the vehicle, the overall maximum weight of the vehicle is what they're going to make sure that the car is able to stop, right? Like when it's cruising down the road. So all those, I'm sure there's some crazy technical way to do that. Now, Lucas, there's some other terms that get thrown around a lot when we're talking about vehicle weights, and I'm going to throw to you, and I'm going to see if you know what each of these are.
Give him a hard one.
There we go. All right. So, what's tear weight?
Tear weight. That's how much
tearing
effort
paper.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how much weight.
Love you, Lucas. Love your work, mate.
Look, from my understanding, tear weight is the unladen vehicle from the manufacturer sitting there, and that's what it weighs off the factory floor.
Okay.
That's the tear weight, from what I understand.
Yep.
Does it factor in? Does it factor in like weight of liquids, like fuel?
Not fuel, I don't think. No. So just tear weight is the unload, empty fuel, empty water tanks, whatever it's got on it. That's the bare lightest that vehicle can be.
Yeah, yep. That's pretty well right, Lucas. A lot of people refer to it as a lot of people refer to it as a dry weight as well. Yeah. So no fluids. It's just the weight of the vehicle on its own.
And then when we go to curb weight, right? That is the next step. Lucas, how do you think that sits? What's curb weight?
So my understanding of curb weight is fill it up with fuel, like all of the natural things that need to be in that vehicle for it to operate under natural circumstances without people, without humans, and obviously cargo and all that stuff. None of that's included. Your curb weight is the weight of that vehicle when it's full of fuel.
So it's probably the most realistic weight of that vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, before you put anything on it.
So like a curb weight for me, just to elaborate on it a little bit, like if you go and buy a brand new Y62 Patrol, you're a legend, you're awesome. But the tear weight of that car, I don't know what they are, which is bad because I own one. But the tear weight of that car, let's just use dummy numbers. So it's a ton, right? It's not, but let's just say it's a ton. You go and put 100 litres of fuel in it, it's 1.1 ton. So that's your curb weight. If you go to ARB or one of these manufacturers and you put bull bars and long range fuel tanks and all that stuff, you got to load the fuel tank up. So the long range tank, put 150 litres in or whatever it may be. Include the roof rack, the bull bar, the suspension, the bigger tyres, whatever you've done to that car, that now is your new curb weight. So if it was 1.1 previously with just a tank of fuel, now it might be 2 tonne because you've added 900 kilos of accessories.
Thanks for coming, Borgy. I don't think we need you anymore, mate.
No, I think you've got it covered.
Yeah, sweet. So,
sorry. Did I jump ahead? Did I do a Matt?
Yeah. That was really interesting. I'd never understood the difference between tear and curb. I always thought they were basically different words for the same thing.
All right. Yeah, cool. So I actually knew something that you didn't know. That's
I wish
awesome.
I'd asked Matt that question. Anything more you want to add to that, Borgy, and maybe relate those two now onto payload and what payload ends up being?
Yeah. So I suppose a lot of people, when they're trying to first calculate how much payload they've got, there's a bit of discrepancy whether to back it back a little section there. If you want to work out your payload, you basically start with the vehicle's GVM, so its maximum weight, and then you minus essentially the tare weight or the curb weight. So manufacturers can do it differently. So we've got to remember that the payload, so how much weight you can put into the vehicle, might or might not include fuel already added to the car. So we need to take that into consideration as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it's very confusing for the general public, that though, isn't it, Balls? Like, let's face it, like, people aren't going to look into it to that depth, and I think that's probably one of the little shortfalls in the traps for the general Joe that goes and buys a whatever, a Tata, I don't know.
Yep.
And they don't understand. They just don't understand. So, mate, it's awesome that you're here to be able to share that and help people understand.
And sorry, Borgy, you keep going.
I know. I was just going to say it is a little trap. Quite often when I'm weighing cars, before I start the weighing process, I'll jump in and just see how much payload it should have from the beginning, so I can sort of see what I'm working with. And you can jump onto a few different databases, even places like Car Sales and Redbook, which use the same database, will give you those specifications. So it should come up with the amount of payload, and it should also come up with your GVM, your curb weight, and your tare weight on most vehicles. But sometimes if you went and cross-referenced it, you're trying to work out which one it's referring to, curb or tare weight, you have to do the calculations. And to me, somebody that's not working with this stuff every day just goes, oh, that's in the too hard basket. I think I've got 700 kilos or 800 kilos, but I don't know what that includes. So it's a bit of an issue.
And I think the other part of that as well is people might buy, like in my scenario, they might buy a TIL, or they might buy a DX, and they don't understand the TIL might be a little bit heavier because it's got more tech or electric windows or whatever. So there's such a cloudy line there between manufacturers of different models and that as well.
Yeah.
Well, look, sorry, you go.
Sorry, I cut you off again. I was just going to say that's actually that's a really good point though, because that's where a lot of people go wrong, is not realizing that the higher end models are filled with more gear and generally weigh a bit more to start with, so they have less payload to begin with. Leather seats and all that sort of stuff adds up in weight and comes out of your payload.
Yeah, interesting. Now, look, I've put some numbers together for some, I guess, common four-wheel drives at the moment, right? Now, this is going to be a bit of a maths lesson. So who would like to be the person who works out? Borgy. Sorry, Borgy.
Yeah, right.
You get your phone out, right? Because I'm going to say some GCMs and some curb weights, right? Because this is curb weights that I've got for each of these. And what we're going to do is start to work out what payloads these vehicles have, right, as stock standard. So we're going to start with a Hilux. So it's an SR5 Hilux 2.8 current model. Right, and Borgy, these are numbers I've got, so if I'm wrong and you know some of these, feel free to call me out. That's fine. But I've got a GVM of 3050 kilos, so just over 3 ton, and I've got a curb weight of 2150. Right? So what's that give us as a payload for that Hilux?
900 kilos.
900 kilos. Now, I always thought Hiluxes were 1 ton, right? That was their claim to fame for a long time. Right, but maybe it's the SR5, maybe it's got, some extra bits on it. Now we go to a Ford Ranger, so we're looking at a GVM of 3350.
Yep.
Or an XLT Ranger, and we're looking at a curb weight of 2353.
2353 gives you 1,097 kilos.
There you go. So Ford's done something better than Toyota once in their life. We'll see how that goes. Now we're going to go to the well-popular 300 series, GVM 3280.
Yep.
Curb weight 2630.
650 kilos.
300 series Land Cruiser, 650 kilos, right? And you're thinking...
So you go and put 2 people, a winch and a bull bar and a rear wheel carrier, a rear bar, you're done.
You're cooked. You can't drive it. It's a garden ornament like Toyota should be.
Oh,
well, okay.
Borgy, we are looking for another host because we've got some space shortly.
Let's continue in the Toyota frame. Now, Lucas, I'm going to give you a bit of homework quickly while I do this one. I'd like you to look up the Y62 while we're here, right? And give us those numbers in a second. Come on. Yeah, that's your job. That's your job. 250 Prado. So latest Prado. I actually can't tell you which spec this is because I didn't write that down. So apologies for all the guys who are going to tell me I'm wrong here. But 3,100 kilo GVM.
Yep.
Curb weight of 24.95.
Gives you 605 kilos.
There you go. So both of those touring, well, you know, what Toyota are putting out there as those vehicles. Now we're going to go to one that I think is such a dumb car, but I'm going to say it anyway because Pajero had a good thing going for a long time, right? I love the old proper Pajeros, but then they went to this thing, but that's all right. 2710 for the Pajero Sport GVM.
Yep.
Curb weight 1975.
Wow.
Gives you 735 kilos payload.
You've still got more payload than a 300 series Land Cruiser. But you've got to drive a Pajero, right?
So they're a small car.
Yeah.
It is not a big car. Okay, now we're going to go a little... Now, this is a scary one. GWM Tank 300.
Yep.
I don't... These are the numbers I got, and it can't be right, but I'm just going to put it out anyway. GVM 2552.
Yep.
Nah.
That's what I've found. Matt, please fact check me. Go ahead, do a bit of Googling and see if I'm wrong. And then I've got curb weight of 2155.
Wow. All right. 397 kilos.
If Lucas and I hop in there, we're done.
I don't know. That's the numbers. I look, maybe I got them from somewhere wrong, but when that came up, I was like, really? I don't know.
That's
please
interesting.
fact check me, boys. See if I'm wrong. But
Yeah. So
you got 2880. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Let's change that. So we'll go 2880 for GVM, and then curb weight of 2155.
That's a bit better. That gives us 725.
Okay, that sounds a bit more right. And like I said, I saw it and went, that seems crazy, right? Because you can't get 5 people in that car under 300 kilos.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Now, Lucas, have you done your homework over there?
I think I've got it right, but curb is 2812.
Okay, and what's the GVM?
3200.
3200. And sorry, what was the curb?
2812.
that's light.
That's giving me 388. Is that right? Hang on.
Go again. Yeah. So 3200 is GVM.
Yeah, that'd be about right.
And what is the curb weight again?
2812.
2812.
Yeah.
That can't be right, Lucas. Have you used the internet before?
No.
Nah. That's given us 388. That's
It can't be right.
Nah,
Borgy,
I seen something. It was around the 600-700 mark before on those.
Yeah. Factory payload for a Y62 Patrol is 742 kilos.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting told here.
Yeah, but this is the thing. You're right. Like when you look up the specs, it does say that the curb weight is 2861. That's on Nissan's website.
Yeah, that'd be a TIL.
2861 Ti, right? And yeah, what says gross combined mass 7 ton, which with 3.5 ton towing, that would theoretically say it's 3.5 ton GVM.
Yep.
Which we'll get into later because I know that's another one. But that's interesting. Even if it was 3.5, you're still only looking at 600 kilos. So it's the same as the
600.
Yeah. Now I've got one more for you.
Hang on, one more question. I want a question on that.
Yeah.
So, Borgy, if we've got a car that's got, say, a 7-seater, what what calculation do they say the average person weighs? Because if you say it's a 7-seater, and I don't know what the number is, say they work on 500 kilos, 7 times 5 means you've got to have 350 kilos of carrying capacity. So my thinking.
So the number they go off is 80 kilos, I believe, per passenger. So when they're calculating the GVM, that's what they're calculating. That the vehicle is capable of performing braking wise, acceleration, handling, all that, with a load that includes, if it's a 7-seater, a load that includes 7 passengers at 80 kilos each.
Right. And do they then allow each passenger to have a certain luggage amount? I'm
not exactly sure on how much with it, but they do allow a specific amount for luggage as well. But I don't think it's a very high amount that gets included in it. So they pretty well just work off that average person weight, individual person weight.
So if I calculate this right, I just did a bit of calculation. On a 300 series Land Cruiser, 7-seater, right? So it's got 650 kilos of payload, right? You got 80 kilos times 7. That's 560, right? So you got 90 kilos, and you got 90 kilos. You put a bull bar on that, and like 3 bags of shopping in the back.
Yeah, and factor in the weight of your pair of scales so you can weigh everything in.
Yeah. Now I do. You go, Borgy. Your point, and then I'll bring up my last vehicle.
Well, the big point of that is, and it's something I see obviously weighing caravans all the time, is all these figures we're talking, 600-700 kilos of payload, very easy to take up that amount of weight with just passengers and a bull bar, basically. But we're not factoring in the weight that the tow ball is placing onto the vehicle as well. So all these 200 and 300 series Land Cruisers and all the rest of it with this, 600-700 kilos of payload, it's quite easy to see.
Instantly.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite easy to see how everyone's GVM, gets exceeded like that.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Now, Borgy, you got that calculator going because we've got one more vehicle for you.
Yep.
It's an Isuzu NPS truck. It has a GVM of 6,500 kilos.
Yep.
It's actually a GVM of 7,000 kilos. My apologies. When you're running 17-inch tyres. And it has a curb weight of 3070.
3070. 3,930 kilos.
I can take everything. I can actually take a Toyota Hilux 2.8 on the back, and I'm still under GVM.
Dave, you can take everything but your ego, mate.
Nice, mate. That's great. That's very well played. Very, very well played.
I just want to say something here while we're on this subject, and I hope I'm not jumping ahead because I haven't read the whole.
Yeah, you don't want to get fucked on like I did, Lucas.
Sorry.
Yeah, but blame Matt if I do. So when I was building the Y62, I wanted a steel rear bar, which I put a Razzler bar on the back. I put a Razzler bar on the front, ARB airlock of 35s. So I put a lot of full set of drawers in the back. The whole lot. When I was asking them for quotes and stuff, I asked them for the weights, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we should be able to get the weights." So when I added all the weights up, I was like, I can't even get in it. There wasn't enough left in the payload. Once I put all those accessories on that car, I could not legally get in that car and drive it because it was overloaded. So the only thing I could do was obviously do a GVM upgrade. So I upgraded the 62 to 4499. So to give me obviously some more payload because I couldn't tow a carrier. I couldn't even get in it. So I think for the listeners, just go out to your car, have a look, and just roughly add up the accessories you've put on there and what you've actually got in there. If you've got a little toolkit in there or whatever, you got to add all that up and just have a think about, where you're situated and are you going to be legally covered if you have an accident? Are you allowed to be on the road?
Lucas, it's almost like you did read the notes because that leads perfectly into the next part here. Segue, normally I do those all right, but you've done the best one tonight. We're talking about how you can upgrade your GVM legal. Straight in. So well done. tell me about, Borgy, I'm going to go to you with this one. So GVM upgrades, how is that possible? How are people able to get more GVM out of a vehicle, and what's involved in that process?
All right. Well, look, it's a bit of a can of worms that we're jumping into now, right? So basically, there are workshops out there that are qualified to be able to do what they call a GVM upgrade, increase your GVM for your vehicle. Now, there's different stages of it. So you've got pre-registration and post-registration. Now, a pre-registration GVM upgrade basically is approved on a federal level. So it's pretty much approved right across Australia from a second stage manufacturer. So it's essentially what's happening there is this manufacturer is saying, we've done the testing. We've come up with a test package, basically an evidence pack that says that this vehicle can effectively carry this extra weight safely and still maintain handling, braking performance, all the rest of it. If you don't go down that path, then you go basically to a post-registration, after you've registered the vehicle, and then it needs to be effectively signed off by an engineer. It is only applicable in the state that the vehicle is registered in. So, essentially, if you went, after you've bought your vehicle, it's 2-3 years old, you figured out, hang on, I'm overweight here. What can I do? I'm going to go for a GVM upgrade. It's a post-registration GVM upgrade. You can go to a workshop. They'll have a package available for it that has done all the testing, but it's only applicable to the registration in the state that you're registered in. And it needs an engineer to sign off on that package, and essentially you've got your GVM upgrade there. There is a little bit more to it, but that's in a nutshell where it goes.
Mm-hmm. So and I imagine, Lucas, you did yours pre-rego, is that right? Before, or did you do it after?
No, so mine's SSM. So
yeah,
there's some hurdles with that as well that I faced because I bought the vehicle, and when I said to, well, we all know it's a Nissan. When I said to Nissan, I don't want you to register it. I just want to buy the car if you're unregistered. They didn't want to do that. They don't shine upon you doing an SSM upgrade or altering that vehicle in any way, shape, or form from brand new, because obviously they warrant the vehicle to the R&D and everything that they've done, and you're going to go and alter some of those factors. So I had a hurdle of that, and then I had a hurdle at the blooming registration joint here in Warwick, because I got it done at I did everything myself. Like all I did was take it to DMW, who did the SSM for me. So they have lower control arms in the rear that they upgrade, UCAs in the front, which is the upper control arms, upgraded springs, like a whole stack of stuff that they put onto that car to beef up the axle loads and everything else. And then you take that into the main roast department to get it passed. And Warwick had absolutely no idea what I was talking about because they've never done one before. But if I had went through DMW and let them do the whole shebang, they probably have someone they go to and they go, yep, we've seen this before, done it before. So there is a lot of hurdles, but if you use a professional mob to do it, I think it'll make it a heck of a lot easier. But yeah, if you just buy a brand new 62, take it to DMW, say here, and then get them to register it for you afterwards. Yeah, it's done and dusted. But
with the 200 series, which has got a chassis extension and a GVM upgrade and all that, it just came out of Creative Conversions, done. And
there's companies out there like there's a good guy up in Queensland, Chris Humphreys from Rambler Vehicles, does that kind of stuff. There's quite a few people out there. I think Solve Off-Road do it down here in New South Wales now. There's a few really good workshops, and DMW, those guys that specialise in this kind of thing. And it definitely is worth finding those guys and those guys and girls who know this stuff and giving them this job. Yeah, it's going to cost you a bit of money, right? But your alternative is you have a really, really expensive garden ornament that you can't get into and drive.
I'm not going there.
Like that's the thing.
But I'll tell you, just very briefly as well. When I was talking to Ruben, who owns DMW, he actually, I think it was a Ranger. He actually went and bought a Ford Ranger that was not registered, and the way they did the testing in it was just phenomenal. Like they put a 1-ton concrete block in the back of the car, and they had to prove that it could corner and lane change and the braking ability and all that stuff as part of their upgrade process. So it's not just like they go, oh yeah, we're just going to chuck some springs in or whatever. Yeah. And that goes for all of these businesses up and down, all over Australia. Like that's where the value is. So when you look at a GVM upgrade and you go, holy smokes, that's too expensive. Well, there's a lot that goes into it, and these guys put a lot on the line to give you a better motor vehicle, so you're safe on the road.
We did a bunch of filming with Tough Dog when they were doing a lot of their GVM upgrade kits, and we were flying drones, chasing cars with big arms hanging off them that did all these measurements, and it was cool, cool stuff. But a lot of work, like the tech that was just in the car, on the steering wheel and on the. It was almost like sensors all over the car that judged exactly how it reacted from a stripped-down stock vehicle, and then they had to build and add all the bits to it to then show it. It's so much work. And I still remember Simon from Tough Dog said to me, he went in to buy a car from Toyota, I think it was, and he said, I need this Hilux or whatever it was. It was a new one that came out. And they were like, oh, well, which colour would you like? And he's like, every panel's coming off it in about 2 days. And they were just like, what? It's like, no, I don't, I'll take this one in any colour. It doesn't matter. It just has to be this spec. Oh, do you want the alloy? No, I don't care about the alloy wheels. I don't need any of it. It's going to get stripped and then put back together.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. And a lot of, you said, a lot of money goes into it. So the companies that have done it properly, a lot of work's gone into it. So generally, you're in a safe hands when you go with those companies.
Yep.
All right, we're now going to move on, because otherwise we're going to get tied up, and we will come back and loop back to some of this stuff. But we're now going to jump into towing weights, right? So this adds another level of complexity on top of here, right? So this is where we're now going to understand another couple of topics, and I'm going to probably throw. You know what? No, this is going to be fun. Hello, Matt.
There we go. Let's find a scapegoat and throw everything at him.
Yeah. Come on. I know. I threw it at Lucas last time and he performed flawlessly.
Yeah, so it's your time to shine, Mr. Toyota.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so Matt, aggregate trailer mass, ATM. What's that?
So the aggregate trailer mass is basically like the curb weight of the vehicle. It's basically the same thing.
Oh, I saw a head shake from Mr. Borg.
No, I did too, which was very disheartening.
I'm glad you didn't say it's a trailer with gravel in it, aggregate gravel.
All right. Okay. Oh, be nice, gentlemen. I'm going to head off.
Don't stand up, Matt. Please don't stand up. Okay, well, before we explain that one, we're going to give Matt another go. GTM, gross trailer mass.
Well, I'm screwed now, aren't I? Gross trailer mass. Gross trailer mass. I would have think is the whole weight of the trailer. So I know where I might have gone wrong before was I didn't include that the aggregate trailer mass is without your tow ball weight. Maybe that's where I went wrong. Anyway.
See, and this is the thing, right? No, but this is
obviously getting lots of head shakes.
No, but do you know what, Matt? The best thing about this, right? And I'm sorry to pick on you. I couldn't ask myself because I couldn't answer this either, right? And no, I'm honest because I don't know. I what you said is probably where I would have gone as well. And I imagine, Borgy, it's pretty common.
Before we go there, I want to find out and see if we can get an honest answer out of Mr. Lucas, whether he knows what aggregate and...
he's already told us that was with the trailer with the gravel in it.
So he doesn't know either. All right.
So we're stuffed.
We're all three stuffed.
We're stuffed. Okay, Mr. Borg, fill us in on these topics because they're well... Regularly, people get them wrong.
Yeah, this is the stuff that is very easy to get confused. But okay, aggregate trailer mass (ATM). The best way to look at it is the weight or the maximum weight of the whole trailer. Okay, so think of all the trailer is being weighed. That includes the tow ball weight and the axle weights. Okay, so it's essentially if you were to weigh the trailer on its own, fully loaded, the ATM is the maximum that it should be, and then you've got an actual ATM, which is what it actually weighs at the time. Then if you get into a GTM or gross trailer mass, the difference with that one is it's essentially the weight of the trailer as it's being towed down the road. And what I mean by that is it's the weight that's placed on the axles when it's hitched up to your car and your car is supporting the tow ball weight. Or another way to look at it is it's your ATM minus the tow ball weight will give you your GTM, which is the maximum it can be. Does that make sense?
Head hurts.
Head hurts a bit.
You'd think they'd be able to make it simple I mean, it is simple, really. It's just simple maths, but you'd think they'd be able to make it so that laymen could understand it.
Yeah. And how about tear weight in caravans and towing, Borgy? How does that then come in? Because you hear tear weight thrown around as well.
Yeah, so same sort of thing as with a vehicle. It's the weight of that trailer unloaded. Okay. Another way to look at it is the dry weight as well. So that doesn't include any water or anything like that. But it's basically the weight of that trailer as it rolled off the showroom floor. And this is where it gets a bit hard. Sometimes, manufacturers will record a tear weight, but we're not too sure what it actually includes. It might include the spare wheel. It might not. It might include a mattress in the camper. If it's a camper trailer or caravan, it might include that. It might not, which leaves a lot, a lot to be speculated about. So, but essentially, the tear weight is the weight of the trailer unloaded, nothing in it.
So theoretically, if you were to pick up your caravan, this is the thing, right, from your dealer, do nothing to it and take it straight to be weighed, and you didn't add anything to it, you didn't add any modification, you didn't add an air conditioner or add anything, it was off, you bought it straight off the specs, it should weigh what it says the tear weight is. Yes?
It should, yeah.
Theoretically. But that's where that grey area comes because, like you said, the mattress might not have been included and the this and that wasn't included, which are included when you buy it, but it helps it have a really pretty payload, which, and I imagine payload is the same thing, right? On caravans to four-wheel drives, same thing. Okay, so now we understand those. Everyone happy with that?
I want to just. Part of me learning is feeding it back. So I just want to feed back to you, and I'm sure this will help some of the people who are listening as well. So feeding back, ATM is the weight of the trailer as it's not hooked up to the car. It's like just sitting there on its jockey wheel and the two tyres, how much that weight is. But that could be with half a tank of water, a full tank of water, whatever it is, that's what it is in that specific moment.
Well, the ATM's actually, it's basically the GVM of the trailer, so it's the maximum that it can be. Yep.
Right. Okay. And then the other term we used was gross
trailer mass,
trailer mass, GTM, yep. And that's what it is when it's travelling down the road, hooked up to the car, so it factors the tow ball weight into the rig.
So yes, it does. But the GTM again is actually the maximum weight. Okay. So both ATM and GTM are the maximums. The tear weight is essentially what it weighs at any given time. So a tear to begin with from factory is what will be written on the compliance plate. That's an unloaded weight. But then obviously when you add weight to it, the new tear weight is essentially what it weighs at that time.
And that tear weight is taken when it's not hooked up to the vehicle. It's two tyres on the ground and a jockey wheel. That's right. The tear weight is weighed in that configuration. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's helpful. Thank you.
I think it is helpful because, like you said, it's both of them are a maximum number. That's the thing, and that's why it's confusing because it makes sense to go GVM and GTM, but a GTM isn't the caravan by itself, and that's right. And that is where it gets confusing.
The way I remember that is like that. So you've only got really the two ways that we measure the trailer, GTM and ATM. The way I look at it is go A for aggregate, stands for all of the trailer is included. So that's the whole lot, all of the trailer. GTM, weight on the axles, gross trailer mass. Yep.
Okay,
I like it.
I think that's really helpful. That's great. Okay, so now we add in the last term here, which is GCM. So this is stands for gross combination mass. And Borgy, tell us why this is really important when towing.
Yeah, look, this one's a big one that a lot of people get hung up on. So the GCM, it's set by the vehicle manufacturer. Okay, so Toyota might say, or let's just say, Ford turn around and say their Ranger has a GVM, so maximum car weight of 3,200. But when you're towing a trailer, the whole lot can't weigh over, say, 6 ton. So it's essentially, we're taking the weight of the car and the trailer combined. And where we get hung up there a little bit is you would think that the GCM, so the gross combination mass, is just the maximum weight of the car plus its braked towing capacity combined. But where we get hung up is on most vehicles, that's not the case. They don't normally add up that easily. And a lot of the time, the GCM figure is less than those two figures combined. So essentially, if you loaded your car to its maximum GVM, this is the trap. If you loaded that car to its maximum weight, its maximum GVM, it essentially can't tow anywhere near as much as what it says on the brochure with your brake tow capacity.
It's interesting, and if you start to do those calculations again, right, on GCM, GVM, and look at those numbers, it's pretty crazy how quickly you realise that you can't actually tow 3.5 ton with very many four-wheel drives on the market today
that are modified in any way.
That are unmodified. Yeah. So unless you've had them modified, and that's the other thing, right? Because tell me, this is going to be another rabbit hole, which we'll go down really quickly and then jump back out of. With Lucas's Y62, right? He's now got a bigger GVM. Does that mean his GCM is higher?
No. Just upgrading the GVM doesn't automatically upgrade the GCM. In fact, what it can do is make things a bit worse for your towing capacity because you're essentially robbing Peter to pay Paul. So let's just say, again, we'll go to the Ranger. So it's got a 2018 Ranger, say. GCM is 6 ton. The factory GVM is 3,200 kilos. So if you go 6 ton minus 3,200 kilos, or the max weight of that Ranger, you're left with about 2,800 kilos that it can tow. Okay, which is a GTM figure. Now, if you upgrade the GVM on the Ranger, so you go from 3,200 kilos and you take it up to, say, 3,500 kilos, you're essentially just taking that extra 300 kilos off what you can tow because you're still going to be capped by that GCM figure. And that's where people get caught out.
So, Lucas, what can your Y62 tow? Can you still do a 3,500?
Yeah, 3,500. So it's the GVMs. I was just writing it down because I knew someone was going to ask me. But so do me homework, Dave. Gold star for Lucas.
Nice work. Yeah, well played.
Okay, so
tell me
the numbers. Tell me the numbers. We'll start to add them up.
So 4,499 is the GVM, and the GCM is 7,949, which is what it's registered as. Yep. So
that gives you 3,450.
3,450, towing capacity.
Yeah. So and that's...
Sorry, mate.
Sorry, Lucas. I was just going to say, and that's where a bit of a trick is because there are a couple of vehicles, patrols and some of the Land Cruisers, do retain, can have the GCM upgraded at the same time, but just a standard GVM upgrade doesn't always do it.
Because the 200... It's got I think its GVM is 4,250, and it can tow 3,500 at that. Yeah, and which is handy. It makes it easy to do things.
So, Lucas, with your Y62, before you got the GVM upgrade, was the GCM still that same number?
No.
So you got both increased.
Yep.
As part of that second stage manufacturing.
Yep.
Yeah, copy.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. No, that's fine. And Borgy, this is another a kind of little side topic of this, but I hear about some of these big American vehicles, right? That are the Chevys or the Rams. And obviously we know like the 2500s and those big ones have quite decent weights for towing, right? But they're not very good payload.
No, yeah, exactly, mate. If you had a look, say take the Rams, say the 1500 or the 2500, they're not much better, if at all, than in terms of payload as a Land Cruiser, around that 600-700 kilos, 750 up to about 750 mark. So you're not getting like a ton payload like you would from some of the other utilities, and that's the issue is with that is obviously it's very, 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 very easy to breach that payload, so breach a GVM, and that these vehicles, they might have a 4.5 ton towing capacity. If you assumed that again that trailer, a 4.5 ton trailer, had a 10% tow ball weight, so 450 kilos, that's coming out of your payload. So essentially, you can't tow that 4.5 ton, with any more than a passenger in there and a bit of fuel. So, that's a bit of an issue. And sometimes the GCM rule that I'm talking about here applies to those utes as well.
It's interesting, and I guess that's where we come down to, like, how do you calculate your legal towing capacity, right? So if I'm, let's say I'm my dad, right? He's got a Everest Sport, right? Everest Sport, he's got a bull bar on it, he's got his tyres. That's it. Pretty simple. He's like, I want to get a caravan. I can tow 3.5 ton, right? Like, because he said that. How does he go about working out actually what he can tow?
The best way to do it, you need to know what your car weighs, right? So if you go, all right, again, the Ford Ranger, you've got to look at the specs. So you look at the GCM, the maximum amount, say it's 6 ton, and let's just say that Ranger at the time weighs 3 ton loaded. Basically, you just go GCM minus your vehicle's current weight, and that figure there that you're getting is going to be what you can legally tow.
Yeah,
essentially.
So if you're my dad, right, and what would be the advice you would give him, right? If he's decided he wants a caravan, right, but he hasn't decided what one. He's just starting out in that journey, but he's got a car and he's ready to go. Is it like go to a weighbridge and get a ticket on it? Is that what we're saying? Like load it up as if you're going away, take it to the weighbridge, and then you know how much payload you've got left and how much tow capacity you've got left?
Yeah, look, you can put the numbers down on you can calculate it all theoretically, but until you get it on the scales, you don't really know what you're working with. So I see it all the time where people have come in with spreadsheets where they've calculated it, but in the real world, having the actual figures in front of you, knowing what your car currently weighs, exactly what it weighs, is the best avenue to take, and then you can work out exactly what it can tow. You do have to also consider, so you are looking at the GCM side of it, but you've still got you've also got to look at that GVM side of it as well, and sort of anticipate what the tow ball weight of any particular trailer you're going to be buying is going to put onto your vehicle. And that's a bit of a hard one because that's variable. Tow ball weight changes with a whole range of different factors.
And once again, you've done a perfect segue, Borgy, into the next section, which is
I
tow
planned
ball
that,
weight.
yeah.
Like, well played. Like, I'm quite impressed. Let's talk about ball weight, right? So I'm not going to throw this at you, Matt, or Luke. Right? Just relax. You're off the hook. All right? I'm going to throw this to Borgy, and if he doesn't get this right, well, please. No, it's all good. So, Borgy, what is ball weight? How does it impact the vehicle, and how do you accurately measure it?
All right. So that's again a little bit of a can of word, but so tow ball weight. in its basic form is the amount of weight that the trailer places onto the tow ball of your vehicle. Okay, so as a standard sort of rule, you want about 60% of the trailer's weight in front of the axle. So it works out to about 10% as an industry standard is an ideal sort of tow ball weight, so 10% of the weight of the trailer. But that's not all trailers. So, the amount that it actually places onto your vehicle can vary. Now, there's a few different ways that you can measure tow ball weight. Now, the most popular way is to place a scale, like a specialized scale, under the tow ball of your, under the coupling of your trailer, and take a reading how much weight is being pushed down onto that scale. And that's accurate to a fair degree, but if I'm giving away little trade secrets here, what I've found with doing that is sometimes lifting the trailer up and then back down actually shifts the weight backwards and then doesn't always come all the way forward when you're trying to measure that tow ball weight. So where I'm going with that is you might have a higher tow ball weight than what your scale's actually reading because some of that weight's been thrown back and the suspension's grabbing or binding and not giving you a full amount of weight back. So one of the best ways to do it, believe it or not, is just to weigh your vehicle while the trailer's hitched, and then also take a reading of the weight of the vehicle when the trailer's not hitched. And the difference is basically how much weight the trailer is putting onto your car. That's your tow ball weight.
Yeah, good. And that's a good way to work it out. And you can obviously there's many ways you can do that. Services like yours, as well as plenty of other weighing places that do the similar kind of thing. You've got weigh bridges, and weigh bridges can be good for that. You kind of sometimes have to explain to the operators what you want at a weigh bridge, because most of the time they're just used to trucks just driving on and getting a weight. Whereas if you stop, with your trailer off and the guy's just like, keep coming. And you're like, no, I want you to weigh this bit. Yeah. Like, and then you go dump your trailer in the car park and come back around and he's like, what are you doing? Like, it's like, or just go to a tip. That works as well. Like
the issue you've got with trying to do it that way is with public weigh bridges is they measure in quite large increments. So, you get a 60-ton weigh bridge, it'll measure in 20, 25 kilo increments. So when it comes to tow ball weight, we've got to be a bit more accurate than that. If we're talking 10% of the trailer's weight, and measuring in 20 kilo increments could put you out 40, 50 kilos quite easily, which is a fair whack for a tow ball weight. So in that case, you're probably better off with a tow ball scale to measure it properly. But if you've got, like I've got professional scales, each scale's measures literally in half a kilo increments, and it's accurate to within half a kilo per 3 ton. So I can get a pretty accurate reading for your tow ball weight in that scale. Yeah.
Awesome. No, look, I think that's really good information. And I think if anyone is interested in, learning more about these weights, look up Borgy's Weigh Me RV. He's got lots of info on the website, as well as, you can book in to have him actually give you that information. And I think it's probably to Borgy's detriment, but I know he likes a chat. So when you go in, you're probably going to get more than you paid for anyway. And he probably got his missus on the side going, "You got 7 more people in the line. Stop talking."
It's like you've been there with me for a day. Hurry up, keep going, stop chatting.
Stop chatting. We got 7 more to get through.
But this is the thing, though.
To ask. Sorry, Borg, you go first, mate. I'll go after you.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say the problem is this is a topic that. There's so much misinformation out there, and there's a lot of people trying to get the right information. So, I'm pretty passionate about spreading the word on the right information out there, because it does impact everybody on the road. So having that right knowledge it's pretty important. You've got to make sure you're not just basically going off Facebook keyboard warriors giving you all the information, because it's just rampant with misinformation.
Plenty of cowboys.
Well, I follow your Facebook page, and so far you haven't taught me what ATM is. But anyway,
bloody hell, mate!
I found it really helpful. So Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Lucas, you had a question.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just for the audience, I mean, I think I'm pretty well all over it, but the difference between...
He doesn't mind putting stars on his head, does he?
That's another star. Thank you, Matt. Don't mind if I do. Appreciate the offer. But as far as trailer drawbar lengths go, right? So if you've got a longer drawbar, in my opinion, depending on your weight distribution, it's obviously going to put more ball weight on your vehicle. Shorter drawbars, there's going to be less. So what's the difference? And I don't know. Sorry if I have jumped ahead here. For the audience, what's the difference between a single axle trailer with a short drawbar and a dual axle trailer with a big mega drawbar, as far as impact on ball weights?
Yeah, so a good question actually. So, again, so the
well done,
the length
well
of the drawbar,
done, Lucas.
Another star.
It's like
Yeah, get a star, mate.
No, look. It comes down to you pretty well answered the question in your question there. So the longer the drawbar, usually the more tow ball weight, because the axles are positioned further back. So there's more weight in front of the axles. You end up with more tow ball weight. Something to note there though is there is a difference. So I mentioned before, tow ball weight's variable, right? So height actually has a bit of basically it is a key component of how much tow ball weight is going to be at the front of a trailer. So something that sort of leads to that is if you've got a dual axle trailer and you sit that trailer down, like so basically the hitch height is lower than level, a lot of people think that you end up increasing your tow ball weight, right? That's true on a single axle trailer. On a dual axle trailer, what actually happens is it starts to place that weight on the front axle of the trailer. So the front axle essentially starts taking the load, which actually reduces tow ball weight. So when you see these cars traveling down the road, they've got a nice big long drawbar, dual axles, and it's diving down at the front there. Chances are that their tow ball weight is actually quite low. And all the weight is being placed on that front axle of the trailer, which can cause all sorts of issues itself. So a lot of people aren't aware that it is different between dual axles and single axles, and that drawbar length plays it. Yep.
Can I ask a question? Sorry.
Yeah, give yourself another star.
I'm a pet. Not yet. I might have it wrong here. And I've already made a post that's scheduled in like 3 days or something, so I hope I've got it right. So the Y62, right, they're very, very prone to changing the wheel alignment in the back end when you load them up and unload them and stuff because of the independent suspension. Mm-hmm. So ball weight is a massive thing for a 62. What I've done with mine, when I got it wheel aligned, I measured from the center of the hub to the bottom of the guard. And then when I put the first trailer on, which was that Nirvana one that I took the high country stupidly, I knew what the tow ball weight was from the tow hitch scales that we put on that van. I think it was 240 kilo or something. It was not much. But I measured how much droop I had in the car, and I actually pumped the airbags up back to the standard factory height, so my wheel alignment was square. Mm-hmm. So now I use that as a reference. So the question I have, when I tow a car trailer with different cars on it, so sometimes I tow a GU Patrol, or I tow, let's say a Toyota, so Matt doesn't pick on me, or a Jimny, so you got different ends of the scale. But what I do now is I load that car onto the 62, and I keep an eye on the drop, make sure I've got similar drop to what I had on the van, which is around that 250 kilo, and then pump the bags back up to that 0 point. Do you think there's a place in that people could use as a reference for ball weights, depending on the way they set it up in the initial stage?
Yeah, so you're sort of saying like to measure the suspension drop to and work on averages from where because you basically had a baseline off that original tow ball weight. Yeah. Off that. I mean, you could. It just you got to make sure that no other factors have changed as well with the vehicle. But yeah, it's not something I really thought about, to be honest with you. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
and this is again leads. You guys are like read the notes. It's just cheating, right? But this rolls into airbags, like other mods that people say help your towing, right? So, or help with tow ball weight. Because people say it all the time. It's like you said, Borgy, if you got that, single axle trailer and it's nosing down heavily, and you lift your airbags up and flatten it all out, you're lessening your tow ball weight. I don't think it is, but people say that's what it does.
Yeah, no. There is a little bit of merit to that, and it's like what I was saying before with a single axle trailer. If you do lift it up higher, you do actually lighten up the tow ball weight on it. So there is a little bit, but
like
we're talking.
Dog, but apart from
that's
that.
right. Yeah. So there is a little bit of merit in it, but it's marginal there. But no, look, airbags. All they do is allow the vehicle to carry that weight a bit better, as in how it looks, so more level. But it doesn't actually shift any weight, really. The marginal weight, it doesn't change. Like say you put 300 kilos tow ball weight onto the back of the car and load that rear axle up. Putting airbags in it doesn't actually move that 300 kilos off the axle. And it definitely doesn't change the amount of weight that's been placed onto the tow bar or tow ball weight. The only way to shift weight around is to go with something like a weight distribution hitch, which will start to redistribute where the weight goes. So back to the front axle on the car and some back to the axles on the the airbags,
that's just like super geek magic. That stuff I still don't understand how that works. Like it's just like
yeah. Well, if you want it, I tell you, it is something. I'll go on a little rant here, but it is something that I think a lot of people would probably get something out of. So if you put, let's say, 300 kilos onto the back of your car, Lucas, onto that tow ball, right, what actually happens is you're not just transferring 300 kilos onto your rear axle. What you're actually doing at the same time, because we've got a leverage effect, so basically the distance between the rear axle and your tow ball, like the point of articulation, the longer that is, the more weight that basically gets leveraged from the front axle of your vehicle onto that rear axle as well. So a lot of people don't calculate that when you're trying to work out how much weight's going onto your axle. So if you put 300 kilos on your patrol, you're going to see roughly about 450 kilos, so about half a kilo per kilo coming from the front axle, which is something handy for people to know.
Because that'll be a ratio from the centre of the rear axle to the tow ball, and then from the wheelbase.
Exactly.
That'll be that ratio.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Yep.
So I actually noticed that quite a lot when I was in the high country, when I had that van on the back, and it was very light in the front when I was going up the big steep hills.
Yeah,
because it was the front. I think the front wheels were off the ground most of the time. But anyway,
yeah.
So I get what you're saying.
That's why we put the 200 on the front, to keep the front down and get you up the hills. I've got video proof. It's really interesting, and one of the things I've learned, having done, like you guys, extensive amount of towing over the years, is I love having adjustable shock absorbers, because you get that on Australian roads where you're going over undulating roads at speed. The front shock absorbers controlling the, I don't know what you call it, yawing, is it? Of the load, where the front of the car bounces up and down and everything, because it's all pivoting around the rear axle. I find that just dialing the front shocks up 1 or 2 settings, it just transforms the drivability of the rig.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to the next little segment.
So that wasn't a good transition.
No, let's not. No, you didn't transition. If you'd said something about your camping gear, or getting everything in, it would have been. I'll give you another chance if you want.
Yeah, look. What I find is when I'm loaded up to go camping, for example.
That's terrible. Okay, we're going to move on. We're going to try and get through this bit quickly, because we are on track for our longest podcast ever. So we're on track, but that's okay. We're going to talk a little bit now about putting gear in your trailer, right, and loading, because that is such a critical part of this, right? You might have a tow ball weight from manufacturer that says it's this, right? But that's based on an unloaded vehicle, yeah, Borgy. Like they get that tow ball weight that's written on that placard at the front based on the tear weight. Is that correct?
Correct. So that tow ball weight is the trailer unloaded when they weighed it to get their tear weight unloaded. Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of people think like, and I know plenty of people who go, that's my tow ball weight. It's like, but it's not, because you've now put all this stuff in the caravan and it doesn't just float, right? It has to go somewhere, right? Unless you can fill the van with helium. And, you know, it's probably not a bad idea. I don't know if you could put... Sorry, moving on. Yeah. Someone's going to come out with that in a couple of years, and you heard it here first.
Helium tyres.
Helium tyres, yes. Now, tell me a little bit about that, Borgy. Like when you've got all your gear for camping, how much can where you place that in your caravan or camper trailer affect all of the things we've talked about?
Oh, massive. Like I was saying before, so tow ball weight's variable, right? So that figure that they give you on the plaque, if they give you one, it's unloaded. You go and fill up a water tank, it can change that dramatically, how much tow ball weight you've got. You know, if it's the water tank's in front of the axle, you're going to end up with a lot more tow ball weight than you started with. And obviously, if it's behind the axle, it starts lifting the front of the van up a little bit, takes weight off. But then, look, the way to sort of think about it is any weight that you put in front of the axle is obviously going to increase tow ball weight. If you wanted to look at and go, okay, well, how do I work that out? The way I sort of explain it is have a look for the halfway mark between the axle or the center of the axles, if you've got a twin axle, and the basically the coupling. Right now, if you found that halfway mark and you said, okay, I'm going to put 50 kilos on that halfway mark, it's going to split 25 kilos onto the tow ball and 25 kilos onto the axles. Okay, so that gives you a bit of an idea. If you say go, all right, well, I'm going to find the 3/4 mark up the front there, right, closer to the tow ball. 3/4 mark will put 75% of that weight that I'm adding onto the tow ball. So if I said, okay, I'm going to put a gas bottle fully loaded. Here's a good one for you. A 9 kilo gas bottle fully loaded weighs 18 kilos. A lot of people don't realise it weighs that much.
9 kilo gas bottle.
A 9 kilo gas bottle fully loaded, filled up, is 18 kilos. So you put two of them on there, you've got 36 kilos. They're pretty close to up the front, up to the coupling there. So 36 kilos. Let's say you're probably going to place about 30 kilos of that weight, roughly, onto your tow ball weight on top of what it is from factory. So that gives you a bit of an idea on how sensitive the weights can be on your tow ball.
And how quickly it changes your the weights and pushes you over GVM.
Yeah, definitely.
I see it over and over again on your page and other pages when vehicles come in and they're just shocked that they are so far over their GVM or their tow ball weight is so high. And half of this comes down to how these vans are made as well, because every van has a toolbox at the front that
they're huge.
It's got a generator slide. And it's got jerry cans, and it's got all this stuff that you can put right on right at the front, because there's space, right?
But they balance it out, Dave, because they usually put a big locker at the back of the van where you can put all the other heavy stuff. So they balance each other out. See? They're not so dumb, are they?
Look.
The perfect seesaw, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it?
So let me ask you this, Borgs. Have you seen a caravan manufacturer, and you've heard it here first on the Good Oil podcast, is there a caravan manufacturer out there that has some sort of digital scale that's in a van that's, you load it up, you put it on your car, or the whole lot, and that digital scale says that's your axle load and that's your hitch load?
So I personally haven't seen any caravans with that sort of tech in them yet. There is, because they use that sort of technology in a lot of trucks and that these days, obviously, to be able to check the weights. And there is, you can get aftermarket things for your full drive. Good question, though. I've never actually seen it in the caravan. It should be.
Well,
I think that'd be a game changer.
The Good Oils. That's us.
I've said it for ages. that caravans should have odometers. It wouldn't be that hard. You just put it on the axle, it counts the Ks, and it's got service intervals.
Yeah. You can get them as aftermarket accessories, but
why wouldn't
again,
you put it on from factory? I don't know.
Factory.
Look, okay. I think we've kind of covered that. I don't want to go. We could go so much deeper into rear axle weights and all kinds of stuff, because I know, Borgy, that I see that as well on your page is something that people blow out very, very quickly. So we will touch on that, and I'll let you do a quick summary of the dangers of rear axle weight as it's just another factor, right? That a lot of people blow out, even if they're under GVM, where that weight is because of towing can have a massive can blow out something that still makes you illegal on the road. Do you want to
for sure.
Wrap that up for me in as short as you can.
I'll polish that up a bit for you. Look, that's the biggest thing. Is pretty much all of when you're towing, the majority of the weight ends up on your rear axle, and then we've touched on before. You've got that leverage effect that happens. So any weight you put on top actually loads the axle even more. And the danger of that is not only do you potentially exceed your GVM, you potentially exceed the rear axle rating. The dangers of that is you end up taking weight off the front axle as well. And that's where you start to get all sorts of handling issues, poor braking performance, basically, how the vehicle handles, especially in wet conditions and things like that. So having, the biggest issue is we've got these maximum weights, say maximum axle weights. We don't have minimum axle weights, okay? So when you're looking at, okay, we can load this rear axle up now, we've done a GVM upgrade and we can take the rear axle up to 2,200 kilos, and we look at the front axle, and the front axle weight's actually gone down, again, because that weight's leveraged onto the rear axle. The issue is with that as well, and something we've got to be wary of, is we don't have a minimum axle weight for that front axle. So we could have all that weight on the rear, nothing on the front, almost pointing to the sky. Even if it's not pointing to the sky, the weight could all be at the back there. And we've got issues with wheel alignment, not much tyre hitting the, contact in the, nowhere near as much tyre contact in the road. And we've got all these handling issues as well. So that's a big thing. Just because we're under GVM doesn't mean that we're going to have a good handling vehicle, and doesn't mean your rear axle is going to be.
One of the places when I started towing, and I had poor loading with the front up in the air. When you come into a braking scenario where you want to brake hard, she won't pull up because the front end hasn't got the traction. The rear brakes aren't as effective as the front brakes, and you can't steer, you can't brake, and it becomes very scary.
Yeah, it definitely can be, and that's exaggerated in wet weather. And the biggest thing is, like you mentioned before, dynamic weight, Matt, where that's a big thing that happens with under braking, especially emergency braking, where you want that weight to really shift onto the front axle, push down harder onto those tyres, and actually give you more traction. If you've got too much weight at the back there, it makes that effect a lot slower and not to the same degree as well.
Look, you can actually have, I believe, like a almost opposite effect, where normally when you're under braking, the front of the car will dip, but because you've got this caravan at the back, and if you've got your loading wrong where the drawbar's down, it can effectively put the energy in a straight line through the tow ball down under the rear diff, which has an effect of lifting the front under an extreme braking. Like, you might not be able to visibly see it, but the dynamics of the way the vehicle's braking means that the front's actually effectively not dipping as it should.
Unloading. Yeah, the front is unloading.
Yeah. And that can be dangerous, very dangerous. And it's interesting because we can see how dangerous it is, yet we go down the road and we see this over and over again. Now, Borgy, is there, while I search up something that I want to just show you because it's a bit funny, talk to me about what the actual ramifications are for people being overweight, right? Because for one, and I'll bring this one up quickly, because this is just on a quick search, I found this information, which shows just some of the state-by-state fines, right, for being overweight. So New South Wales, $514, 3 demerit points. Northern Territory, kind of don't care. Queensland, 309, 3 demerit points. South Australia, 515. Tasmania, kind of don't really care. Victoria just have a massive range because they tend to just decide how much they want to fine each person. And same with WA. It's like, we're going to fine, was it per kilo you're over? I don't know how that works, but there's big dollars, right? And the potential, this is on a insurance website, right? So, and the potential for your insurance to not cover you, right?
Definitely.
Like
that's
Talk to me about that.
Well, look, that's a key point there. So, insurance companies are well aware that there's a bit of an epidemic with overweight vehicles and overweight caravans, and that they are contributing to accidents on the road and fatalities. So these days, if an insurance company suspects that your vehicle's overloaded, especially if you've had an accident, basically the vehicle's deemed not legal, and it opens up the doorway for them to be able to refuse a claim. So, these days you've got a lot of money tied up in between a new car and a new caravan. A couple $100,000 you can have tied up there, and if it's overloaded, it's essentially, there's a legal escape route there, so it's not going to be covered in the case of an accident, which is it's a bit of an issue.
So have you had it, Borgs, or have you heard of it? Just say I'm flying down the highway and I'm fully overloaded. Like the car's overloaded, the van's overloaded. It doesn't matter whether it's 100 kilos or a ton, it's overloaded. And I get pulled over by the ways or whatever you want to call them, main roads, and they weigh it and they go, it's overloaded. The scalies, yep. And they go, there's your $500 fine. What's after that? Do they say, okay, you're on your merry way, or do they say
no? I'm hearing reports of them saying, basically park the van up, it's unroadworthy. So, or go and get somebody. I've heard stories of people having to basically, or get a family, like a family member, or a friend or something, to come back with another car and literally load things from the van into the other car just to get underweight. They won't let you leave until that point. And look, it is a bit of an issue. Where I'm at the moment, so when I started, I've been weighing now for about 3 years, and I've been going through the statistics of what I've been weighing, and we worked out that 91% of everything I've weighed in the last 3 years has been overweight in some way, shape, or form.
Wow.
91%. And I thought, okay, like I'm weighing out in the central west of New South Wales, and I thought, maybe we're having a bit of a bad run out here. And I started looking into it a little bit more and spoke to some authorities, and Queensland, I think it's the TMR. I'm not sure exactly the department. Yeah, TMR. When they were doing their studies 2-3 years ago, they were running at 90% is overweight from what they were pulling in on the side of the road as well. So it gives you a bit of an idea of it's a bit of an epidemic, because a lot of people just aren't aware of the weight that they're towing as well. And where I'll go with that, Dave, is just something else as well. There are potential, like if you're massively overweight, there has been cases. There's one particular one from up in Queensland, was an ex-truck driver. There has been cases where people have been imprisoned basically for manslaughter. One particular case was a fella up in Queensland who was a truck driver. He was massively overloaded. I think it was 600 or 700 kilos overloaded in the van. And he had an accident, and basically, I think he killed his wife and kid from hitting a tree, but he lost control. So on top of that, they've done him for manslaughter, and I think he got 10 to 15 years of prison time.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
that's an extreme case. But I've heard a couple of similar stories where if you're found to be negligent due to weights and due to a couple of other bits and bobs around the trailer as well, you can be. It's more than just a fine. It's not a slap on the wrist,
Wow. Well, yeah, that's. Yeah, I was going to make a joke, but now you've brought that right down. So I'm just going to leave the joke to this.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Now, Borgy.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
So let's just tell people what the picture is first.
Yes.
Tell them what we're looking at, Dave.
So we're looking at a BYD Shark. So this is a new. We talked a bit about this in a previous podcast.
It's red though. They didn't bring red ones out.
Yeah,
so unless it's been wrapped.
Yeah, well, it has to be wrapped because if you look at that the front grille, they come out with its one color grille, don't they? It's not like matching the car. So
sure.
It must be wrapped, but it is sitting so far down in the rear end. It's not funny. Now these have a 2.5 ton towing capacity, apparently, for these vehicles, but they're an independent front and rear suspension vehicle, right? So it's actually probably not as bad. It probably looks terrible, but it doesn't have leaf springs, right? So it can't carry the weight like a normal, ute would do. So I know this has been doing the rounds a little bit, this picture across some of the, pages, but it doesn't look great, like for that vehicle and towing capacity.
Mate, he'd only be seeing the tops of trees looking out that windscreen. So.
And lucky it's four-wheel drive because that front wheel's just skipping the whole time.
Yeah.
Borgy, I know this is sort of an impossible question to answer, but roughly how much do you think that caravan would weigh?
That one, it depends what's in it, but you're probably looking at around the 2.4 ton Tare mark.
Yeah, okay.
2.5 Tare, and then whatever they've loaded it up to.
So it's definitely over 2.5 ton.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay.
The actual van was sitting quite nice.
I was looking at that. Yeah.
Okay. Look, we're getting near the end of this segment, which is good, and I think we've unpacked a lot of good stuff. And hopefully, at home you've got some info, or if you're driving along in your overloaded caravan, you're pulled over
right now,
and you're now thinking about
kicking the wife out.
How am I going to get to
the dog?
Because that's what
empty the toilet.
Yeah. We're going to go into the 3 most commonly asked questions, and I got Borgy to send these through. These are the 3 most commonly asked questions that Borgy gets when he's doing his testing, and I'll read them out, Borgy, and then maybe you can give a little bit of a rundown on them. And Matt, you've got these in front of you as well, don't you?
I can do.
How about you, Lucas? We'll read one out each to Borgy. So I'll do the first one, Matt, you do the second, and Lucas, you do the third. So the first one, Borgy, is, isn't my GCM just my GVM plus tow capacity?
No, we touched on this before, but for a lot of vehicles, it's not. So some vehicles are, but especially like your 4-drive utes, like Rangers, D-Maxes, those sort of vehicles, it doesn't equal the GVM plus your tow capacity. It's in most cases a fair bit less. I haven't really seen them more than those two combined, which means that if you're loaded up. If your vehicle's loaded to GVM, you can't tow. You can't tow what the brake tow capacity is essentially. And the way you work that out is just take your GCM figure, 6 ton, and you minus the weight of your vehicle, and that'll basically give you what you can tow.
Nice, great.
Very good
with that, Matt.
All right. Why is my rear axle weight so high? I'm not even that loaded. Let's talk about the leverage effect.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We get that heaps. But I actually get quite a lot where people forget that the tow ball weight is being added to the rear axle on the car as well. So they look at the car weight and they go, yeah, but, I haven't loaded much in there. But when you take into consideration that you've got, you might have bigger tyres on the vehicle, which weigh more than standard tyres. You might have a set of drawers in the back, and then you go and add, your tow ball weight. The rear axle weight can creep up very quickly, and then you add that leverage effect. So anything that's placed, not just your tow ball weight, but anything that's placed behind the axle starts to pull weight from the front axle, and all of a sudden that rear axle weight just skyrockets. And some people, when they've done their calculations, just aren't considering those effects.
Nice. Awesome. Lucas, number 3.
So what do I need to consider when buying a vehicle weight-wise? Is it payload and GCM, or what do you reckon, Borgs?
Yeah, they're the two main things, mate. Payload is exactly what it says. It's how much weight you can put onto and into that vehicle. So how much you can add to it. So if you're looking at buying a new vehicle, I would say go for something that's got the most amount of payload. Or if you're in a position where you can do a GVM upgrade from the start, have a look at what GVM upgrades are available, and GCM upgrades are available if they're available for that model. How much payload you can get out of it. Okay, so if you're looking at those, a 200 series Land Cruiser, it's got 600 and something kilos of payload. You're going to be towing a 3-ton caravan plus passengers in the car. The GVM's going to be exceeded. You're going to need a bit more payload to begin with.
Can I? Sorry. When you finish, Borgy.
No, go.
Quick question: what tow vehicle, do you see come through your business with that's sitting in the car license category that regularly sort of does the best? If you were out to buy a towing vehicle, what would you look at buying?
Funny one. So the ones that I see most regularly do the best are, Lucas is going to like me here, your patrols, like your Y62s. Most of them do come in with the GVM, GCM upgrades, though. So once you can get some massive payload out of those with the GVM, GCM upgrades. So they seem to do really, really well. The latest model Ford Rangers actually do quite well. They've got a higher GCM than the previous models and then most other utes in that sort of category. So they're the ones that I see the most. But look, if you're going to be regularly towing, 3.5, 4 ton, you got to get into a truck. Dave hit the nail before with the payload there. Payload's king. You just got to go for the ones that got the most amount of payload and a GCM to match it as well.
Now,
so the F350s, that sort of space is the comfortable route. Forget about price, but the comfortable route to get into that.
And then you got to jump up a license category and all those other bits that go.
Well, you did with your truck anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the flip side, right? You go up to those license categories, you can no longer have beers while you're driving, right? In New South Wales, on my truck license in New South Wales, 0.02. But if I go into Queensland, it's 0 alcohol on a truck license. So that theoretically applies to me if I'm in Queensland. But even though my license says 0.02, and one day I will probably argue this point, but I'm pretty sure the case is if I'm in Queensland, their rules apply, not my license rules. So that means you can't have a beer with lunch when you're traveling. As soon as and that becomes a barrier, right, for some people who, if you're traveling and caravanning, for some people, not you two boring people who don't drink beer. But it's okay, it's fine. Just you remember I'm catering for this next trip, and there's only going to be beer, so you're going to be basically, So it's important to know. And when you go up to those vehicles, there is a new license required. Now that leads us into our final question. Oh, so good. I did it myself. See,
everyone's got tickets on themselves here.
No, that was that ego again. Should people, Borgy, your opinion, and we're going to go around really, really quickly, and I just want a one-word answer, and then we'll explain it after. Should people have to get a license before towing a caravan? Matt.
Yes.
Oh, Borgy. Yes. Matt.
No.
Lucas.
Yep.
I'm a yes, but I strongly feel for my caravan industry friends because it would be the end of a lot of businesses in the caravan industry. It has massive ramifications. That which is why it hasn't happened, because I don't think you'll ever get a body like Caravan Industry Victoria or any of those people lobbying for a license, right? Because it's a barrier to entry for people into that industry. While it would be safer, absolutely, and I do agree with you, Borgy and Lucas, that it would be a great thing. Yeah, I agree with you as well, Matt. And it's like,
I reckon people need to have a license to tow a trailer, or they need to have an awareness course at least to understand these payload figures, how to load a van, how to tow a van, how to stop in an emergency, how to stop a sway.
I have to do a knowledge test to get my new license for my truck. So why couldn't you have to do that?
Just something like that, like something basic.
There does need to be something. Look, I can't go into a cafe and get a job as a barista without doing some sort of training, right? So, but I can go and tow 7 ton and have never towed a trailer in my life. So there needs to be some sort of training, and I see it almost daily where people are brand new to it, and look, they're having a crack, they're getting out there, they want to do it, and they're coming to me, which is a good thing to get the weight sorted and learn a little bit at the same time. But the level of knowledge that I see a lot of newcomers get into it with is just so low that it's frightening sometimes to see it. Sorry, Gabe.
So Matt, tell me your point. Why do you think no?
Okay, so I think we're all looking at the same piece of cake from just from the other side of it. So I don't think there should be a license per se. I absolutely think people should go and get trained. Mm-hmm. And I think they need to do a course. Yeah. So, what does a brake controller do? Do you know that if you push and hold the button on, the brakes will lock on? Most people haven't got a clue. They don't even know what the button does. No. It's just, it's a thing. They don't even change it. How simple. It's the most simple thing of towing a trailer. Mm-hmm. So I absolutely think people need to get training. I find that so much of the training is with our now modern training systems. Lucas and I recently did a course, and it's competency-based training, and it's just ticking boxes. There's so little accreditation or accountability to actually demonstrating that you genuinely have the knowledge. It's we'll just tick the box, and I think you know what I'm saying. You've all done courses.
Are there incentives for people to do these courses? Surely insurance companies, right, would give a discount if...
I'm going to say no.
But it makes sense, right?
But they don't do it. You go out and you buy a $100,000 four-wheel drive. Lucas will testify to this. How many of them turn up in the four-wheel drive park and don't have a clue about four-wheel driving? They just...
A lot.
Yeah.
I was going to bring it up with Borgs 2 seconds ago when he said the knowledge is scary. Like he sees it all the time, every day. I see it all the time. I even did a video on it. Like something as simple as I know it's off topic a little bit, but on topic. But hooking up the chains, like chain lengths and crossing the chains over, and it's such a simple thing that I've done a video. I've showed people, and I see it all the time. They just use chains that are dragging on the ground.
Lucas, I can do one worse, mate. I had a fella who'd never towed a trailer before in his life come to me. So he'd gone to a four-wheel drive place to put airbags in his car. Didn't tell him what for. Rocked up, put the airbags in, went home, hooked up the trailer, and didn't fix his problem. His front wheels are still facing the air. Anyway, so he's gone back to the four-wheel drive retailer, and they've gone, "Oh shit, we didn't realise you're going to be towing. Go down and see Borgy, this doesn't look right, blah, blah." Anyway, so he's come down. I've weighed it. He had a massive amount of tow ball weight. We're talking 450 kilos on the back of a GU Patrol, which is obviously well over what it can handle. Worked with him a bit, reduced tow ball weight, got it to within spec. Now, this is where it gets dangerously, the level of education gets dangerous. I got a phone call the next day with him ranting and raving that I'd done something to the trailer, and when I broke it down, basically he said the whole front end's collapsed on this trailer. And I said, "What do you mean it's collapsed?" He goes, "I was reversing it onto my front yard. I unhitched it. I've gone to wind up the jockey wheel, and the whole lot's just collapsed." So I went around to his house and had a look. And long story short, he's tried to undo the jockey wheel, unwind the thing, while the trailer wasn't hitched up to the car. So it was putting all the weight on the jockey wheel.
Oh, man.
And when I questioned it, he's basically said, I said, worked out what's happened. Yeah. And he said, "Well, I didn't realise the jockey wheel took the weight." He goes, "I thought it was just to lift the trailer up off your tow ball." because I thought the trailer would stay there after that point.
Oh, man.
Just hover.
Just hover there, basically. So I look
man.
at that and go, well, that's who we're sharing the road with. That's the level
So
of
he
knowledge that some
the
people
jockey wheel.
Thinking it's hovering.
thinking it was just going to hover, and it just fell down. This thing had 300 and something kilos of table weight, so it's come down in a half.
Wasn't
Foot
under
off. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but he's perfectly legal and able to drive this thing on the road, and that's the sort of level of knowledge we're talking about. Obviously that's an extreme case, but it's just
Wow. Well, all right. Well, look, I'm going to go round quickly. We're coming up on definitely the longest podcast ever, but I'm going to do
I don't think so. We've done over 2 hours, mate. We're experts.
Right. Matt, any last questions for Borgy before we jump on to one of our favourite segments of the show?
No, I feel like this is, we could start delving into some rabbit holes, but I really appreciate the work you're doing, Borgy. It's good
Thanks,
stuff,
mate.
Keep building your business, and I just encourage people to get onto your Facebook page. Weigh Me RV. Support. So he's just giving knowledge at the very front end, but if in doubt, go and get your gear weighed.
Lucas?
Thanks, mate. Appreciate that.
Mate, I agree 100%, Matt. I think you're doing a fantastic job, mate. These are weapons on the road in the hands of people that don't know how to operate them and don't know how to load them. And unlike, not dissimilar to our mate that's in prison up here for having that horrible misfortune that, it's a terrible, terrible accident. Probably 90% of the vans that you see that are overloaded or whatever are at risk of that very tragedy. So, mate, keep up the good work. And are you coming to Queensland? Are you going to expand into Queensland, mate? We'd love to see you up here.
Mate, yeah, look, I wouldn't mind it. I've sort of been thinking about it a bit, but at the moment I'm just focusing on the New South Wales stuff because, and this is another issue, another rabbit hole you can go down, is the rules between each state aren't uniform. So we've got different rules for different states and all sorts of things there. So to jump into another state at the moment, I've pretty well, mate, I'm a bit of a slow learner, so I've had to learn all the road rules and everything for New South Wales to be able to teach it. So, give me a couple of years, I might get on top of the Queensland stuff too.
Yeah.
It's much simpler in Queensland. It's like, we have car, we drive. That's it.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty
we have beer, 4Xs,
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
I will say, thanks for the shout out, Matt, to sort of push people my way. But I will say, the biggest issue is a lot of people don't know that what they need to know. So, because there is no mandatory training or anything there, people are sort of none the wiser that these things can be so dangerous. So, anyone that's listening to this, I'd basically say if you've got a car and a caravan, or you're looking at purchasing one, go and do some training. Look straight into it. Try and find some training preferably before you even buy a caravan, so you can get a bit more of an understanding around the weights and the effects and all that sort of stuff. Think of it as part of the cost of purchasing a caravan. Training is part of it. It might cost you $500 or $600, but can save you thousands.
Totally, mate. Like you go get a boat or a motorbike, right? And you've got to learn the rules that go with that. Right?
Borgy, how many people do you get turn up who've bought the wrong caravan for the car they own, or bought the wrong car for the caravan they own?
Well, that comes down to the 90% that are overweight. Obviously, one of them's bought the wrong size car or the wrong size caravan. So 90% of everything I see is they've made the wrong choices. And the biggest thing that I see, which is really disappointing, and it's something that I'm trying to create a lot of awareness about, is because they have jumped into it without knowing what all this weight acronyms and everything mean and how easy it is to stack up. So I'm actually about to release a service which is for people that have got a vehicle that they're about to go looking for a caravan, where we weigh the car and then actually simulate how that car is going to respond weight-wise to add in a theoretical trailer weight to it. So if they're looking at particular vehicles, if you're looking at a particular caravan, we can weigh the car. We go, righto, this caravan's got an ATM, a maximum weight of 3.5 tonne. If you did apply 10% towable weight, this and that, this is where all your weight metrics are going to be, and whether you can safely tow it or not. Which is, I think, people can do it at home, but it's obviously a service I can offer as well.
Well, when you get that landed, Borgy, maybe we get you back on here and run through it so
sure.
we can understand it.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah, can do.
Keep us
not
posted.
far away.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
will
Well,
do.
we're going to run into our last segment of the show, and that is...
Embarrass Borgy.
That's a whole world of pain.
We don't offer marriage counselling, but I'm hearing that he's going to need it.
Walk in a puddle is what I should have done a few moments ago, but I didn't, and I got us into a whole world of pain.
It's time in the show for those moments that you kind of want to forget. It's time for Trail Fails.
Well, when we got chatting before we started this podcast, Borgy, we mentioned that this segment was coming up, and you had a pretty clear answer. What was that?
I don't fail. I don't have any mishaps.
Well, we've
I don't know what
all
you're talking
gone,
about.
the last couple of weeks, we've all gone through and told some missteps that we've made over the years. Mine was crashing into the earth on Fraser Island. Matt rebuilt an engine in the middle of some country and left some people thinking that he was never going to come back for them.
But I did.
But you did. And Lucas, well, we'll leave that one out. That was just embarrassing. So, Borgy.
I don't even remember what it was.
Wasn't it the night you winched up that thing in?
Oh, it was.
So, Borgy, is there a moment that you can remember from your forward driving touring career that you'd like to just erase?
Yeah.
Our
service is to help you
And
not
don't
erase
say
it.
this podcast, that would say.
Okay. Yeah. Like to look. This is like a therapy session. That's what it feels like, actually. I've got a few. The number one is I was leading a forward drive trip. I won't get right into it, but number one, I was leading a forward drive trip, and I had about 6 or 7 cars behind me, all looking at me like expert Borgy. He knows the way. He knows what he's doing. Now, Dave, you know this. My navigational skills, I've been living in my house for 3 years. I still get lost finding the bathroom sometimes. That's about where my navigational skills are.
You try and tell Borgy to follow a map, man.
Yeah.
You won't see him for days.
No, exactly. So, obviously that went how you expect it to go. I got lost, but we end up losing a few hours of the day for that one. Probably the biggest one though, going back years ago, and it was when I just started the show, Dave. I think it was when I just started the Off-Road Adventure Show. Once again, I had a few mates in that with me, and we were up in the Wattigans, up in New South Wales there, and we were doing a forward drive track, and I come up to this track, and I think it was called Roller Road or something like that. Long story short, I went to take a turn. It was the wrong road. I went to take a turn down there. I looked at it. It was a very steep way down with some deep ruts. And a few blokes come over the radio and said, I don't think this is it. Yeah, this is the one. Don't worry. Trust Borgy. Off you go. And so we've all gone down this track, got down the bottom, and it was a dead end, like flat out dead end. Now, this was super steep. Like the ruts in it were bloody. I was on 35s at the time, and it didn't have a chance in hell. And it was like clay based, so wet clay. So I think it was 4 or 5 vehicles down in this tight U-turn thing trying to turn around, and we're trying to get back up, and for the life of us, we just couldn't get up. And I was pretty unprepared. Nobody had a winch. The winch wasn't working, and actually, this was a bit before then. Actually, it was longer ago than I remember. But I was actually in a patrol, Lucas. So just to throw that one.
That's why you survived, mate. It got you out.
Yeah, that's right, mate. That there, we ended up that we were actually stuck there. We were actually stuck there. Or the cars were stuck there, should I say, for 2 days because we had a storm roll in.
Wow.
I couldn't get it up the track. I'd hit it that hard. The old rule of thumb, especially when you're young and dumb, you can't get up the first time. You just go harder and harder. And I hit it that hard. I've popped tyres off the bead and halfway up in the ruts and all the rest of it. And
It's just a normal afternoon on Beer O'Clock Hill, really.
Basically, similar sort of thing. We were just that underprepared. It was one of those quick runs. We didn't have max tracks or anything like that. I remember we end up calling a mate of the UHF that come down with big rolls of carpet that we literally laid in the ruts to get us in. Like it was a debacle, honestly. 2 days later, we ended up getting another mate to come through, and about 3 or 4, I think it was 3 winch extensions, and that by the time we got down, it was a big long hill. By the time we got a winch onto the first car to start pulling us up, and I wish I could take that one back because I don't. I still cop that now. And we'd be 10 year on from that.
10 years on, and Borgy's like, let's go for a trip. They're like, you're not leading.
No, that's right.
Chance.
It's exactly that.
Never again.
Where are we going? What are you going to do?
That's a good one. I like it. I like it.
Thank you. Good story.
Nice. Well, guys, I think that is us for this week. So we're going to wrap this up now. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I think we've dug deep. We've learned lots of things. We've learned that nobody in this group wants a Y63 patrol. We've learned that Matt can't park the nursing home on the street in Queensland.
No.
We've done some knowledge tests through vehicle weights, and we've found some quite interesting things. And one was that MadMatt doesn't know everything. Which is good.
Yeah. We also learnt that Lucas has tickets on himself, and Dave's got a big ego.
15 stars, and I have
I'm the only humble one here.
Yeah, so humble. And look, I'd like to definitely thank Borgy for coming on. I appreciate you taking the time out to jump on here and have a chat. I've been promising you a barbecue dinner for way too long, so we need to actually make that happen. But we literally live like one hill apart. Like it's probably maybe 3 Ks as the crow flies, but it's about a half hour drive around. It is only 2 streets. You're right,
2 streets away.
2 turns. But it's a busy time of year. But we'll catch up, and looking forward to seeing you and Dom. And the dogs. So, look, Matt, any last words from you?
Yeah, well, look, if you're enjoying the podcast, we're only starting out on this, but we'd love you to share the podcast with your mates and help get the word out there. And let us know. Send in your stories, send in your questions, anything at all. We'd love to get hold of that. And we have got some really cool stuff about to come out in the next month or two. We're keeping it under wraps and we're keeping it quiet, but it's going to be pretty cool. So stay tuned and appreciate the support.
Borgy, anything from you before we head to Lucas for the last words?
Look, I'll just say, keep onto it, boys, because this platform, this podcast here, it's going to help a lot of people. I love the fact that we're bringing in, basically bringing in information, getting through, cutting through the crap, so to speak, and getting the right information out there, which is something that is hard to come by these days. So keep onto it, boys. Doing a great job.
Awesome. Thanks, Borgy. And Lucas, last words to you.
Mate, I absolutely agree with Matt. Guys, comment below, do all that stuff. You know what to do. Borgy, you're an absolute legend, mate. Fantastic to meet you. Obviously, I've been hanging out with these 2 rat bags for long enough, so it's nice to have a breath of fresh.
I do feel sorry for you.
But, mate, you're doing a super killer job, man. And, just keep doing what it is you're doing. And
cheers, mate.
Yeah, enjoy the adventure. Get down to the Springs 4x4 park sometime and come and say good day.
Yeah, there you go.
Love it. All right, folks. Catch you next time.
Ciao for now.